Clear skies coming in here. Traffic's doing okay. Don't care about the geese roaming. We have a problem with the geese. The problem is they've asked us to surrender. And you know us, we refuse to surrender to geese. Ducks? Maybe. They seem reasonable. Geese? No. Very unreasonable. Honking. Honking like they think they're cars. They're not cars. Hence the traffic problems. It is ridiculous and I will not stand for it. Not again. Not anymore.
Hi everybody. Oh, that's not the camera I want. That's a terrible camera. Why are we like this? Welcome to Variant Edition's new releases show. My name is Brandon. Sean, I am working on a new intro that I was hoping to have done this weekend. I did not get it done this week to update because the music intro doesn't introduce the show as it has been for a while. It's an old intro that I just keep playing. And yeah, that was an old clip. Because I saw it and thought it was goofy, and it gives me the same amount of time that I would have to get ready as the other video. Let's see. Today is going to be a bit of a chaos stream. And you might be able to tell why. We just had Kit walk across the way. And we've got a Jiminy hiding right here. You might be able to see some floofs. No. Oh. Anyways. Squee insisted he wanted to be outside. So he is, and by the time I'm done the show, I will definitely hear him screaming at the door like I'm some kind of bad parent. But he asked for this. He asked for this specifically, so I'm pretty sure that's fine. When your baby is make terrible decisions and you go, well, you'll live with them now, and your babies are cats. So I hope you're all doing well today. Today went pretty well for the store anyways. This was the first time since I came back from vacation that I felt like things really landed. When I left the store, I was out. Hi, I'm back. How much of any of that did you guys see? Thanks, everybody. Yeah. No, the internet glitched out and then told me to off. So, yeah, I'm back. Hi. Right. So getting kind of back to it, because I probably, you probably all missed everything. 2 things happening this weekend. First, it's Batman Day. And brain. And it's got me all off track now. Wow, it's so easy to do. So Batman's this little guy, pretty popular amongst the kiddos, and every year DC puts on like a little bit of a to-do, which involves giving away some free comics. We'll be talking about that in a little bit, and some releases that are coming out on Batman Day very specifically. So that's going to be on Saturday. We'll have a little table set up for some of the freebies, and you can pop in and grab some of the freshies in terms of the single issues. Freshies is a silly way that I refer to things that are new. Ooh, what do you have there? It looks like a freshie. Yeah, so I'll be talking about that in a little bit. But also, this weekend is Be Nice to Craig weekend. I've arranged a weekend off. I know it seems like very quick after my vacation, but for folks who might not know, just in case, it hasn't been obvious by a lot of the different things happening in the store, the stream, everything else. A little while back, Danica and I announced that we were separating. We've actually decided on this for quite some time, but we didn't really want to get people all worried, because everyone was already worried when the store flooded, when we were closed, when all these things were happening. And so, and honestly, from the reaction of some people, which is very touching, reacting to some life changes, from the reaction of some people, it was good that we kind of metered some things out. So we've been separate for some time. We're still really good friends, but as of a couple weeks ago, I started seeing somebody. Wasn't sure I was ready to start dating until I was in Ireland, actually. And it's the oversharing part of the show, so let's go. It's not weird at all for anybody. So I was in Ireland, and one of the reasons why I was in Ireland was a good friend of the family was getting married. Now, she had sung at my sister's wedding. She had sung at a good friend of ours' wedding. They were both there, and they and myself all got married, like, obviously not to each other, because that'd be weird, 10 years ago, to our significant others at the time. So it comes up at this wedding. Oh yeah, everyone got married 10 years ago. My sister goes, well, Brandon's getting separated. And some rando Irish dude looks at me and goes, but were you married under God then? And I said, nope, as a response to the question and the situation. And I walked to the bar, because this is an Irish wedding. There is a bar. Which is when I started flirting with the server there. She was pretty cute. And I realized I was comfortable with that, which was new. So when I got back from Ireland, kind of made an official declaration for folks around that Danica and I are separated. And I was like, well, I like connection. It feels like I'm ready for a connection. So went out, and I say went out, went on an app, And ended up finding somebody pretty quick, which was pretty cool. So, long story short, we'll be spending some time with this person on the weekend, because we're obviously seeing how things go. And I feel like I owe it to myself, especially after the past few years, to really take care of myself. And part of this taking care of myself is I'm feeling fond about a lady in my life. I want to see what happens when we spend more time together. So this weekend is Be Nice to Craig weekend. He will be doing the Batman Day stuff. It is not really a big to-do in our store because Batman, as you might know, doesn't really need to be advertised as being a chill dude who people want to read stories about. People seem to know the man. But we do obviously partake in some stuff. There'll be some free comics for folks to read and some new releases. So I'll be talking about those first. And I do not have this pile in any great order. So it's going to be a bit of a show to start out with here. So please bear with me. All right. So this weekend we're talking new releases. One of them is the Batman Long Halloween Last Halloween prologue. It's sort of like a 0 issue of a new series coming out. Now, for those of you who don't know, Batman Long Halloween is a classic Batman story. Some of the more recent movies were based off of some of the plots from there. And this was to be the third Last Halloween story that Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale did. But unfortunately, last year, Tim Sale did pass away. Absolutely brilliant artist. If you ever watched the show Heroes and saw some of the art that the artist character on the show did, that was Tim Sale. So that was a kind of a cool time for that. And so this story came out a little bit before he passed away and was meant to kick off the Last Halloween story. It's done sort of murder mystery style. Yes, hi, Kit. It's done murder mystery style, and both of the other stories in the series. And think with your brain, Brandon. Use your words. This series will actually be done by a series of artists who were good friends with Tim Sale and very much in his style and whatnot. So I'm very happy that this will be coming out as a tribute. I'm very interested to see how a bunch of different artists, amazing artists, deal with the story beats and tenor and, you know, paying homage to Tim Sale, their good friend, while also doing the storytelling themselves. So this 0 issue reprints the original story that they did before Tim Sale had passed. So John, I can't put that last one on screen, but thank you. Yeah, dang it, why couldn't it be Robin Day? At least he died well for a little bit. Yeah. I was explaining Jason Todd to the lady that I'm seeing, and that, like, oh yeah, he died, but he got better. There were some questions because there was a lot of questions about all the different Robins. More so of like why and how. Because a lot of stuff comes up when you let loose that you run a graphic novel / comic book store. Jonathan, if you ever need anything and for whatever reason can't procure it, because I know that you do kind of still support hyperspace, and rightfully so. If you ever do need anything, just send me a line and I can definitely help you out. So, also releasing on Batman Day this Saturday is the Batman Elmer Fudd reprint special. This was by Tom King, and this was in a period of time when DC was doing some weird DC Warner Brothers crossovers. And this story is way better than it should be. It's got the amazing Lee Weeks on art. And it's this really dark crime story. As you can see, there's two different versions here. This is full color reprint, and this is the noir edition, which reprints everything in stark black and white to really show off the original art that happened in here. It's really amazing. I honestly, it's a story that almost shouldn't exist. It's super wild, but also kind of weirdly serious, but it makes the seriousness makes it funny and interesting. They did a great job of this. It has not been reprinted since, honestly. And a file customer of ours who come to us after Wizards closed down has lamented that he never got a copy that he requested forever ago. And he's so excited that this is happening, and I'm very excited for him. So yeah, exactly. It's wild. It's super wild. And finally, in terms of comics to pay for on Batman Day, there's a facsimile edition of Detective Comics. Now, they did a facsimile edition before, but it was regular comic book size. So this time they're doing it more of the Golden Age size, which is really cool. And not only that, I'm going to show you some interiors. That's naughty to do. But they even have a lot of, they've got a very interesting paper stock that's a bit darker. And it looks like they've kind of shot it so that there's bleed through. And I don't think that's just the printing. I think that's actually when they shot right from the comic, you actually get a lot of the texture and bleed through from the other side. So this is really cool. This is the first appearance of Batman. And he's not really a huge part of this book, as was tradition at the time. He's only like the first few pages, as a lot of these were anthology books. So get your first appearance of Batman in this beautiful, beautiful edition. Now, to talk about some of the free stuff coming out, there is going to be a free taster of the Batman Wayne Family Adventures that's been happening on what's my brain thinking here? That's been happening on Webtoon. So Webtoon is an app that you usually read on your phone. It's a website, but the comics are meant to scroll, basically. And it's hugely popular. Millions of people read Webtoon all the time. And I believe Wayne Family Adventures does have over 1 million subscribers to it. Or it did when it launched a couple years back. And if comics folks know their numbers, boy howdy. Boy howdy, do millions of people not read single issue comics. It's more in the tens of thousands. So yeah, pretty wild. Oh, looks like I got a request. for Kevin for the Batman Elmer Fudd noir. Just know that I did get that, and I will kind of take care of that after the stream. So another single issue coming out for free to pick up is a preview of this Joker the World graphic novel. This falls in the footsteps of Batman the World graphic novel that came out, where there are stories told by folks in very different countries about the Joker. And one of the cool parts, I don't know if they'll do this again, but when the Batman the World one hit, if you went to the DC Infinite app, you could read all of the parts there day of. This might happen with this one. I really enjoy the breadth that you get from this, because you do get all kinds of different styles. Here, the list: Japan, Poland, Cameroon, Argentina, South Korea, Turkey, Czech Republic, Mexico, Brazil, Italy, Germany, Spain, and the United States. The United States one is done by Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok, doing a little bit of follow-up to their Three Joker series. So it's really wild. You do get all these different flavors, and it's absolutely wonderful. Not that I remember. I know that there's been some collections, I believe like a Batman by Tom King and Lee Weeks, that this has been in the Elmer Fudd comic. But it hasn't really been part of the reprints of Tom King's series, even though this story actually really has some tie-ins with his main run, which is weird. All right. I'm doing this all shenanigans style today. Some single issues, friendos. We've got Multiverses, Collision Detected. This is based off the Multiverses game that's been coming out and does smash a whole bunch of Warner Brothers characters together. So you have your DC characters, you have your Steven Universe, you have Adventure Time, you have Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo, and there's going to be more. All in one comic. So it's a wild time. And Brian Q. Miller writes this. He used to write for Smallville back in the day, and did my favorite Supergirl series of comics of all time. Wonderful stuff. I really enjoy his work, and I'm really happy that he's having fun here. We've got a new Dazzler series. One of the wildest things is there's also a Godzilla cover for this Dazzler book. So Dazzler, very inspired by the disco craze back in the day, with rocking out with Godzilla is not a thing that I expected to see in comics. I did not bring a copy of that because we are sold out of it already. We had some requests. But this new Dazzler series brings back the character with Jason Liu, good old Canadian boy, doing the art or doing the writing, with Raphael Lariro doing the art. It's got Shark Girl in here. She's a girl who's a shark. This basically covers a lot of the cult of personality stuff that's happening today. Think sort of like a Taylor Swift style, but with a lot of the baggage that the X-Men carry. And you've got what Dazzler is. We have the return of Ultra Mega. Ultra Mega is basically kind of like a Power Rangers series, but what if it was kind of like a body horror thing? James Herron took a good time off because all of these issues are thick boys. And this is the return. It is going to run to conclusion at the end of this arc. And it is just brilliant comics. Very disturbing, but also kind of hits the kaiju levels and does like a lot of wild body horror stuff, which, again, so well done. James Herron is one of the artists that Mike Mignola nabbed to do a lot of BBRD stuff when Guy Davies left the series. And so, a person like Mike Mignola is very particular about the artists that he puts on his creator-owned books. He is an artist himself, of course. And The fact that James Herron is out here doing a lot of his own really cool stuff is awesome. Sorry, I'm just looking up some more information about some stuff that I hadn't got a chance to read as they came in earlier today, basically. So I've just been processing. I came home 8. So I haven't had a chance to read this one, but have. Tin Can Society. The first stunning issue of a brand new series from Giant Generator. Okay, so Giant Generator is Rick Remender's company, and Rick Remender, when he signed a new deal with Image Comics, actually inked a deal where he gets to curate his own line of comics, develop them with folks, and build them up. So he's actually helping out a bunch of creators who he really believes in, tell a bunch of really cool stories. And while a lot of people, when they would help with development, would take a chunk of the rights, not Rick Remender, friends. He's just being a nice dude. It's the first graphic novel work from screenwriter Peter Warren, who is apparently writing the Inkle feature film coming out. That's pretty wild. With jaw-dropping art by Francisco Mobili, who has done some work on X-Men and Scumbag. Johnny Moore is a world-famous tech mogul known as much for his work pioneering mobility aids for people with disabilities, like himself, as he is for moonlighting as a metal-suited vigilante, Caliburn. But when Johnny is found murdered and his suit stolen, his estranged childhood best friends reunite to solve the mystery of his murder. The Tin Can Society is a heartfelt and human look at the evolution of friendships across a lifetime, a disability and ableism, and the destructive power of fame. So that's an interesting one that I've been looking forward to. Also extremely exciting is a team up of 2 creators who are some of my absolute favorites. We've got Daniel Warren Johnson doing some writing and some art alongside Riley Rossmo, who's the main artist of this book. The Moon is Following Us. Now, Riley Rossmo, good old Canadian boy, used to live in Calgary. I believe is not living in Calgary currently, but been able to talk with him a lot of times. Is actually pals with one of my, well, not pals, cousins, one of my friends. And she ends up getting a whole bunch of stuff from him all the time. Great creator, great artist, teaming up with Daniel Warren Johnson, who has done some of my favorite work of the past 5 years, honestly, between Extremity, which is a brilliant kind of Studio Ghibli style story. If Mad Max was done by Studio Ghibli, basically. It's beautiful, heartfelt about an artist who is in this fantasy world, and their families are his family's warring, and during these fights, he loses a hand, and it's sort of like this really touching tale about societies of war and artists just yearning to create, but the limitations that they have and ability and whatnot. It's a brilliant story. Also do a Powerbomb, which is really cool. It is more of a wrestling story, and some of the kinetic art that Daniel Warren Johnson puts out there is just brilliant. But it is a story about family and connection, laid into the supernatural style wrestling story. Amazing, and sold really well for us. And also Murder Falcon, where a giant falcon person gets powers the more that his best buddy shreds hard, which feels goofy, but again, very heartfelt in the end. Daniel Warren Johnson is really good at that, and he's currently writing the Transformers series. So, long road to say I'm very excited for the new book that he's writing and doing some art for, with a good old Canadian boy. We have this story. Sam and Duncan Lamar love their 6-year-old daughter, Penny, more than anything in the whole world. But half a year ago, she was taken by the Cascade, an evil force they barely understand. Now, Sam and Duncan must fight side by side with the magical beings Penny cherished to try and get her back before she's gone forever. I'm so excited to actually read that freaking book. Oh, there's another cover for Dazzler. This is the Marguerite Sauvage, which means it's absolutely gorgeous. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum, ba-dum, ba-dum-bum. Sean, you are correct. Murder Falcon does in fact rule. I'm feeling a certain way tonight. We have the Graveyard Club, the Graveyard Club from R.L. Stine. Yes, that R.L. Stine. This first volume, look at how thick that boy is. Contains so much story. It is basically being released in these sort of like mini collected editions, I would say. And I really like that format, especially with a creator like R.L. Stine, where the fan base is more novel based, or at least, you know, like when I was a kid, it's Goosebumps, it's Fear Street, it's all those kinds of things. They're used to maybe more of this kind of format, and they're getting it here. Gravesend is a sleepy town, or is as sleepy a town as they come, especially being surrounded by cemeteries. And the local kids could think of nowhere they'd rather wreak harmless havoc. But being surrounded by graveyards comes with the pervasive reminder that there are more dead than there are living. This town is an endlessly eerie place with no shortage of strange and dangerous happenings. And when high schooler Parker West pulls what seems like a harmless prank, he might be putting his friends into more danger than he can imagine. So this is described as a coming-of-age horror series, kind of like a Breakfast Club in a graveyard. That says, with frights both nostalgic and new for fans of Lock and Key and the chilling adventures of Sabrina. We're getting to some graphic novels now. It was a big week of stuff. And I mostly know Kolchak the Night Stalker from kind of like stories, and there has been the odd comic series over the past few years from Moon something. I forget the company's name. But I've been told I actually really enjoy it. We have finally back in print for the first time in, I'm going to say, about 5 years. It's We 3 in a 20th anniversary deluxe edition. This book is actually part of a syllabus for a Grant McEwen course. I know the professor has been champing at the bit to get this in front of his students, and now he finally can. And so we've already got a lot of these going out the door. I'm so excited for people to get their hands on We 3 again. This is basically Homeward Bound, but robots. It is, again, extremely heartfelt. Your heart will break, but the art in this by Frank Quitely is just absolutely outstanding. The things that he does with panel layouts, with time, with motion, and breaking out all the different panels is just absolutely incredible. Grant Morrison tells a great story. You have a new forward by James Gunn, who is essentially running all of the new DC movies that are coming out and TV shows coming out soon. So a lot of really cool stuff in this package. If you have not read V3 before, ask us about it. We'll crack open a copy. We'll show you some pages. You will hurt. You will fall in love. This is an amazing, amazing story. Speaking of Grant Morrison, we have the first bigger collection of his run in paperback. This is a long time coming because Grant Morrison's run in Batman has not been readily available for quite some time unless you're getting some big ol' omnibuses, and a lot of us can't afford big ol' omnibuses for everything. So you have the first stories of Grant Morrison's Batman run, which introduces Damian Wayne, his son, his sweet little boy, as the newest Robin. And the story goes from there into some wild places. It is a seminal run. It is a beloved run for good reason. Not doing those ones, but we're doing this one. This is another new Piao offering that came our way. I'm very excited for this. I love everything Piao does. Last week we were talking about A Frog in the Fall. This one similarly has brilliant aesthetics. It says it's 1990 something, basically. It says 1990X, so just like 90s feel, 90s vibes. Laura Leah Deng befriends a mysterious and beautiful girl with sharp teeth named Carmilla, and slowly something soft, delicate, and rotten like white mold blooms between them. This is a retelling of Carmilla, one of the earliest pieces of vampire literature ever written. But this is done in sort of a more modern independent comics diary style comic. So you kind of get this classic literature element with beautiful, soft indie comics vibes going on here. And these are not French flaps, as it is a wraparound cover, but pretty close. And finally, there is a new release from Charles Burns. Folks might know him as the dude what did Black Hole, very classic work in comics in general, let alone the independent scene. It is an absolutely brilliant piece of work, incredibly disturbing. And Charles Burns' work is just wonderful in general, as you get a lot of the thick, beautiful, inky line work and this like dark, roiling ideas that are just kind of crawl into the back of your head and really dig their way in some weird, disturbing ways. So the description of this: as a child, Brian and his friend Jimmy would make sci-fi films in their yards, convincing their friends to star as victims of grisly murders, smearing lipstick on their bodies to stimulate blood. Now, a talented artist and aspiring filmmaker, Brian, along with Jimmy's best friend Tina, and Lori, his reluctant muse, sets off to a remote cabin in the woods. No problems with cabins in the woods. No problems at all. With an old 8mm camera to make a true sci-fi horror movie, an homage to Brian's favorite movie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But as Brian's affections for Lori go seemingly unreciprocated, Brian writes and draws himself into a fantasy where she's the girl of his dreams, his damsel in distress, and his savior wrapped up into one, rife with references to classic sci-fi and horror movies and filled with panels of stunning depictions of nature, film, and the surreal. Burns blurs the lines between Brian's dreams and reality, imagination and perception. A master of the form at his finest, Final Cut is an astonishing look at what it means to truly express oneself through art. And it's going to be disturbing as Unfortunately, no, weren't able to procure anything like that on this one. I don't think they were readily available to a lot of comic book stores. They were more of a direct option. Yeah. So anyways, hi, Jim. You've just been hiding this whole time, just a little bit off screen. All right. Folks, that brings us to the end, which can only mean one thing. It's our magic mirror where we look at when we see thank you all for being here. We hope you had a good time tonight and hope that you know that we are here for you as well, for anything that you might need. Well, maybe not anything, for a lot of what you might need. Yeah, so like a shoulder to cry on, etc. Or just someone to talk to about stuff and things. That's us. All right, I'm looking out. I'm seeing Sean. Hello, Sean. I'm seeing Bing. Hi, Bing. I'm seeing Ben. Hello, Ben. I'm seeing Bryce. Hi, Bryce. I'm seeing Carl. Hi, Carl. Do. I'm seeing Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for checking out the stream. And I believe that's it. Good show. Fun show. I'll be talking with you all soon, either in the store or in real life. Thank you all for being here tonight. I hope you all have a great rest of your night, great rest of your week, great rest of your life. Take care of yourself. And we'll talk to you all soon. Bye.